The human voice. It's the instrument we always play. It's the most powerful sound in the world. Probably, it's the only one that can start a war or say, I love you. And yet, many people have the experience that when they speak, people don't listen to them. And why is that? How can we speak powerfully to make change the world? But I like to suggest that there are a number of habits that we need to move away from. I've assembled for your pleasure here 7 deadly sins of speaking. I'm not pretending that this is not an exhaustive list, but these 7 I think are pretty large habits that we can all fall into. First, gossip. Speaking ill of somebody who's not present, not a nice habit. And we know perfectly well the person gossiping 5 minutes later will be gossiping about us. Second, judging. We know people who are like this in conversation, and it's hard to listen to somebody if you know that you're being judged and found wanting at the same time. Third, negativity. You can fall into this. My mother in the last years of her life became very, very negative, and it's hard to listen. I remember one day I said to her, it's October 1st today, and she said, I know, isn't it? It's dreadful. It's hard to listen when somebody's that's negative. And another form of negativity, complaining. Well, this is the national art of the UK. It's our national sport. We complain about the weather, sport, about politics, about everything. But actually, complaining is a viral misery. It's not spreading sunshine and lightness in the world. Excuses. We've all met this guy. Maybe we've all been this guy. Some people have a blame thrower. They just pass it on to everybody and don't take responsibility for their actions. And again, hard to listen to somebody who's being like that. Penultimate, the sixth of the seven. Embroidery, exaggeration. It demeans our language. Actually, sometimes. For example, if I see something that really is awesome, what do I call it? And then, of course, this exaggeration becomes lying. And we don't want to listen to people we know are lying to us. And finally, dogmatism, the confusion of facts with opinions. When those two things get conflated, you're listening into the wind. You know, somebody's bombarding you with their opinions as if they were true. It's difficult to listen to that. So here they are, 7 deadly sins of speaking. These are the things I think we need to avoid. But is there a positive way to think about this? Yes, there is. I'd like to suggest that there are 4 deadly powerful cornerstones, foundations that we can stand on if we want our speech to be powerful and make change in the world. Fortunately, these things spell a word. The word is hail. And it has a great definition as well. I'm not talking about the stuff that falls from the sky and hits you on the head. I'm talking about this definition. To greet and acclaim enthusiastically, which is how I think our words will be received. We stand on these 40s. So what do they stand for? See, if you can guess. The H, honesty, of course. Being true in what you say. Being straight and clear. The A is authenticity. Just being yourself. A friend of mine described it as standing in your own truth, which I think is a lovely way to put it. The I is integrity, being your word, actually doing what you say, and being somebody people can trust. And the L is love. I don't mean romantic love, but I do mean wishing people well. For two reasons. First of all, I think absolutely honesty may not be what we want. I mean, my goodness, you look ugly this morning. Perhaps that's necessary. Tempered with love, of course, honesty is a great thing. But also, if you're really wishing somebody well, it's very hard to judge them at the same time. I'm not even sure you can do these two things simultaneously. So, hail. Also, now that's what you say, and it's like the old song. It is what you say, it's also the way you say it. You have an amazing toolbox. This instrument is incredible, and yet, this is a toolbox that very few people have ever opened. I'd like to have a little rummage in there with you now, and just pull a few tools out that you might like to take away and play with, which will increase the power of your speaking. Register, for example. Now, falsetto, register, may not be very useful of this time, but there's a register in between. I'm not going to get very technical about this anyway. Of you who are voice coaches, you can locate your voice, however. So if I talk here in my nose, you can hear the difference. If I go down here in my throat, which is where most of us speak from most of the time. But if you want to wait, you need to go down here to the chest. You hear the difference? We vote for politicians with lower voices. It's true, because we associate depth and power and with authority. That's register. Then we have timbre. It's the way your voice feels. Again, the research shows that we prefer voices which rich, smooth, warm, like a hot chocolate. Well, if that's not you, that's not the end of the world. Because you can train. Go, get a voice coach. And there are amazing things you can do with breathing, with posture, and with exercise to improve the timbre of your voice. The prosody. I love prosody. This is the sing-song, the meta language that we use in order to impart meaning. Its root one meaning in conversation. People speak in all on one note are really quite hard to listen to if they don't have any prosody at all. That's the word monotonic comes from, or monotonous, or monotone. Also, we have repetitive prosody, no coming in, where every sentence ends as if it were questions, when it's actually not a question, it's a statement. And if you repeat that one over and over, it's actually restricting your ability to communicate your prosody, which I think is a shame. So let's try and break that habit. Pace. I can get very excited saying something really quickly, or I can slow right down to emphasize. And at the end of that, of course, is our old friend, silence. There's nothing wrong with a bit of silence in a talk, is there? We don't have to fill it with ums and ahs. It can be very powerful. Of course, pitch often goes with peace to indicate arousal, but you can do it just with pitch. Where did you leave my keys? Where did you leave my keys? So slightly different meaning in those two deliveries. And finally, volume. I can get really excited by using volume. Sorry about that if I startle anybody. Or I can have you really pay attention by getting very quiet. Some people broadcast the whole time. Try not to do that. That's called soundcasting. Imposing your sound on people around you carelessly and inconsiderately. Not nice. Of course, where this all comes into play most of all is when you got something really important to do. It might be standing on a stage like this and giving a talk to people. It might be proposing marriage, asking a raise, a wedding speech, whatever it is. If it's really important, you owe it to yourself to look at this toolbox and the engine that it's going to work on. And no engine works well without being warmed up. Warm up your voice. Actually, let me show you how to do that. Would you all like to stand up for a moment? I'm going to show you the 6 vocal warm up exercises that I do before every talk I ever do. Anytime you're going to talk and to anybody important, do this. First, arms up. Psh, dip, breathe in, and sigh out. Ah, like that. One more time. Psh, ah, very good. Now we're going to warm up our lips. And we're going to go ba, 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 ba. Very good. And now, brr, brr. Just like when you were a kid. Brr. Now your lips should be coming alive. We're going to do the tongue next with exaggerated. La, 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 la. Beautiful. You're getting really good at this. And then roll on R. 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 That's like champagne for the tongue. Finally, and if I can only do one, the pros called this the siren. It's really good. It starts with we and goes to aw. The we is high, the aw is low. So you go we aw, we aw. Fantastic! Give yourself a round of applause. Take a seat. Thank you. Next time you speak, do those in advance. Now, let me just put this in context to close. This is a serious point here. This is where we are now. We speak not very well into people who simply are not listening in an environment that's all about noise and bad acoustics. I've talked about turning on the stage is different paces. What would be the world be like if we were speaking powerfully to people who are listening consciously in environment which were actually fit for purpose? Or to make that a bit larger, what would the world be like if we were creating sound consciously and consuming sound consciously and designing all our environment consciously for sounds? That would be a world that does sound beautiful and one where understanding would be the norm. And that is an idea worth spreading. Thank you.